What's up guys, First One Review Cave here with another review video for Black Clover's manga. Now, I was unable to record for last week's chapter review, so this will be another double review for chapters 278 and 279 of the Black Clover manga. With the current arc really gearing up, and with the last couple of chapters showing us Yuno against Zenon unleashing his new Oberon form. No wait, Boreas form. I keep getting those mixed up. And Charlotte showing her Briar Queen transformation. We have two chapters that are in the same location for once, where we have Jack and Noct versus Dante in chapter 278 and even 279. So, let's get started. So, 278, Undying Bodies, ends up coming out with Jack using his cutting magic, his slash magic, to try and cut up Dante. Dante says that the modifications that Morris did on his body basically made his regeneration even more OP. So now the only thing that can hurt him or do anything is anti-magic, which makes him even more OP. Noct realizes that he figured Asta needs to hurry up and get his training done so we can come here. So Dante uses his gravity magic, presence of Demon King, to increase the gravity on Noct and Jack. Noct ends up using his Devil Union ability, which is he uses with the Bull version, with the Bull Devil he has, and it's called Devil Union Mode Equus characteristic Toughness. So this is literally like he has a giant suit of armor, and with that he's actually standing in the presence of Lucifer's gravity magic and not being brought down and even able to move. So this honestly does surprise Dante a bit and kind of gets him a little bit excited. Now, Jack, on the other hand, is having trouble getting up. And then Noct basically teases him, like, is this really all you got, Jack? I kind of expected more from you. So then Dante ends up trying to land a hit on Noct. Noct manages to block it, which is honestly pretty cool. One thing to take into account is how Dante is now using both his gravity magic and his flesh magic. I hesitate to call it flesh magic because it just sounds weird. But he's well bulked up, incredibly strong in his double form. I believe it's like 70 or 60% form. He's not an 80% yet, so that's important. He's not going all out yet. And then Noct actually manages to kick Dante out of the way, and this is getting him incredibly excited. So now Dante doesn't really have much depth to him at the moment, so there's not much I can say. But now we get into Jack's backstory, talking about how he came to the realization to join the Magic Knights and his character in general. So his dad was a hunter who's a commoner and a hunter, and he basically taught Jack that it's best for us to hunt the weak because when you fight the strong, you are always going to lose. That's kind of the mentality that his father did have. So a whole bunch of stuff happens. Jack's father ends up being dead, and they realize that the markings are on his back, which indicates that he was running away when he was fighting the King of the Mountain, when he found the King of the Mountain, a giant big grizzly bear. So Jack decides to just go off and fight it, and lo and behold, he wins. He beats that giant bear on his own, and he was a kid, and he just comes to a realization like, you know what? I guess I'll join the Magic Knights. So with Jack being more or less weak, he realized that his magic basically gets tougher the more he slashes something until he can actually beat it. Which is why Noct chose to have Jack with him, because he figured that with Jack continuously slashing at Dante, he can deal some damage, which is actually really smart. Now moving back to the fight with Dante, we see how Jack is starting to protrude more of the blades on his body. Dante's getting kind of excited, and I keep saying excited, kind of interested in what's going on. So Jack ends up getting up. He's like, I who I consider strong, I will slash them up to ribbons. And then we see Jack. I wouldn't really say that this is a new form, because he just has all of his blades protruding out of every portion of his body. And then he starts to continuously slash at Dante, making Dante kind of nervous and then excited. And that's how the chapter ends. So we got a portion of Jack's backstory, and then Jack unlocking a new way to use his scythe magic, his cutting magic, his slashing magic. And once again, so far, every chapter is a new transformation. But chapter 279, let's get started with this one because this is one that I honestly like. Okay, let me just read the chapter real quick. The Door to Hell. Yeah, okay, that is actually a very accurate title. So, instead of continuing where we left off with Noct and Jack against Dante, we start off on the outside with Mereoleona hovering above the scorching demon god that she just completely destroyed a couple of chapters ago with her new Hell Incarnate form. Now, okay, again, I cannot stress that I want Mereoleona to fight the big bads now, because it also feels like it's kind of weird that she knocked out a giant demon god, but then again, it could just been like a commoner turned into a demon god or someone with low magics, which is why she was why it was so easily defeated. But yeah, so the Resistance ends up seeing damn, I keep forgetting the guy's name. Ralph, yeah, Ralph, along with Sally, Seke, Valtos, and I keep forgetting the other guy's name, and that guy from the Black Clover filler arc in the anime. So they basically say that they all reunite, saying that the Magic Knights are strong, and also he ends up telling the other leader of the Resistance that Prince Yuno is back and he uses wind magic. Now what's interesting here is that he says wind magic? So this implies that maybe wind magic is somewhat special for the Spade Kingdom, or it has some kind of hidden meaning, which I'm excited to figure out why, because it could also show why Yuno was just beloved by mana. But we don't have much time to dwell on that because we cut back to some images of the other fights. Damn, I keep hitting the table. Okay, so Noct's Cat Devil, it seems, is going within everyone's shadows and checking up on their progress. Yuno's side with Xenon looks like Yuno is winning. Charlotte's battle against Vonica appears that she has won, and then he goes back to Noct, which I honestly really do like that we're getting some more use out of Noct's Devils. So, okay, so, oops, sorry about that. I like doing this stuff unscripted and more or less unscripted and unedited so you can get my raw thoughts on the matter, like I'm doing a live reaction. So, we cut back. Noct is impressed that our Magic Knights are even stronger than he originally thought. So, Noct is incredibly impressed, and the pairings that he came up with were very, very good. So, I can feel like he's smiling a little bit underneath. But then all of a sudden, as Jack's about to keep, while Jack is still slashing up at Dante, and he's like laughing maniacally, and it looks like he's reaching his 80% form from the design, we get a big rumble and a huge presence. And then the roots from the tree of Cliff-Off are spreading around the castle. Everyone is concerned. Noct changes into his Cat Devil's union form, which is Phallus. Now, again, so far every single chapter has been a new form for everyone, including Noct, who's gotten 2 new forms. We got Mereoleona, Hellfire Incarnate, Yuno's Boreas form. We get Charlotte's Briar Queen. Last chapter, we got Noct's Bull Devil transformation, as well as Jack's blades. And now we get the cat transformation, which is honestly really damn good. And then uses his shadow magic, Heaven's Shadow Second Sight, and he protrudes to see down below them to the ritual site where Yami and Vengeance are being held. And then we see, his name is Morris, right? Yeah, it's Morris, yeah. He sees Morris in the area, which is confusing to him because there's not much that he thought. But then, Morris is laughing. And he's like, I didn't think that everything that happened would lead to this. We get a flashback of basically the fight with Vonica and Noelle taking Lola Pachica. And then we see Morris in the Heart Kingdom's mental library, basically, Mind Palace, with all the information. And he's like, I was born blind, so I didn't think that a bunch would happen for me. But then he says that in exchange for being blind and not being able to see, he possesses the ability to be a devil host. And then we see the markings on his forehead and the black eyes, which is like Dante's. So Morris is now a devil host, a devil user, which means now we have 4 members in the Spade Kingdom that use their own devils from what I can see. He's not a Dark Disciple because he has those markings, which is, oh boy, now I'm curious to see what kind of devil he has, because now he's able to extract the information and power from Lola Pachica's grimoire in her mind, and he found a way to accelerate the growth of the Tree of Qliphoth. And now the gates are officially opening. Noct thought they had more time. But now, Morris accelerated it, and now the gate opens, and 2 new devils appear. If you look back to the original map of the Tree of Qliphoth, there are 2 devils at the very top of Qliphoth, which stakes just got higher. So we can assume something that now that the gate to the underworld is essentially opening, it's possible the devils will end up gaining more strength from their home since the gates open. That's honestly a theory. I'm not entirely sure about that. So possibly the Dark Triad might actually be able to access 90% of their powers. Now the gates are opening, the closer it gets to the gates that their devils are from. But now, these 2 devils, they are freaking creepy as hell. And, oh man. They're one devil split in 2. And one thing that I noticed is, one is male and one's female, so they could actually be siblings. So, that's interesting. But the right hands of one of the devils, people have pointed out on Twitter, on Reddit, that from the design of those hands, they're similar to the hands that threw Libe into the human world against the gate, and which led to him being in the human world. So it could be that one of these 2 was one of the pissed off devils that threw Libe into the human world, causing him to meet Asta's mom. So this could be interesting to see, but we don't have much time. Noct and Jack in shock. Noct manages to get out of the way, but Jack gets pushed back, and Dante loses a freaking horn. And oh man, even with the agility, it's hard to dodge that attack. Noct is saying, and in the most creepy things, they're each saying that this is going to be interesting, and like one hit, one missed. It's almost like they're completing each other's sentences and thoughts. And Noct confirms they are devils of the highest order. So, oh man. So now we don't have the Dark Triad to worry about. We also have all the other devils that are going to be able to come out from the underworld. So, right now, Noct and Jack are about to fight 2 devils along with Dante. Now, we can assume that since Dante lost a horn, it could be that it was by accident, or they just don't give a shit about Dante. So, I honestly don't know how this could play out, because now there are 2 powerful devils. But this also gives us the opportunity to bring in all the other Magic Knight captains that were taking on the Dark Disciples in the palace, so that everyone else can fight their respective opponents. So I believe it was Nozel that was with Noct's group. I think it was Fagolion that was with Noct's group. So he would probably end up coming to fight these 2 devils along with Noct and Jack. The best course of action for that fight would be Noct and Fagolion fighting those 2 devils, while Jack fights Dante, since this is the only one that can really damage him in some sort of way until Asta arrives. And as the gates keep opening, more and more of the knights will have to fight off these devils. While Yuno and Longris fight Zenon, we could have, let's see, Nozel or Dorothy fight off the next devil, and so on and so forth. Same with Muriel Leona, so I can't wait to see her fight a freaking devil, because she did not end up fighting the devil in the Elf Reincarnation arc. Well, at least she wasn't a major player. She actually wasn't able to fight in that arc at all against the devil, which is honestly kind of sad. But either way, I'm excited for what's going to happen next. And with the devils coming out, we could also get the rest of the Black Bulls to do something, because there will be more opponents. And it'll also help with Noel's group when they show up to fight Vonica and everyone else. So, this is honestly the best way that can happen, because we could have done a whole thing where, okay, everyone holds off the Dark Triad long enough, Yuno manages to somehow defeat Zenon, Noel shows up and fights off Vonica and defeats her, and Asta shows up to defeat Dante. But then it's too late. The gate opens up and devils start pouring out, and everyone has to team up to fight these other devils. Now, this is Now, this is a 6-month time skip. So, season took so many people in a somewhat team effort to take on Zagred. This is going to be very difficult for them to end up fighting a bunch of different devils. So, I feel like this is one of the best options for Tabata to go with in the terms of the matchups. And I feel like it's more fair for the gate to open up before Asta and Noel get there, even though Yuno is fighting off his opponent. So we just have to wait and see on how this plays off, because for all we know, they could close the gate, they can get Yami and Vengeance out of there before Lucifero ends up getting out, and then those two will get healed up by Charmy when Charmy gets there, and then they'll fight Devils as well. But we honestly don't know yet. But yeah, with all that said and done, that was chapters 278 and 279 of the Black Clover manga. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on this, because this was honestly a really good. These were really good chapters, and this one especially, 279, really upped the stakes for this arc, because I believe we all thought that the gates weren't going to open until the Dark Triad were defeated or close to defeat. Dante was not close to defeat at all. And we could still think that Zena wasn't only using like 50% of his Devil's Form and Vonica like 70%, so it's not really like an all-out fight against the Dark Triad yet. Not to mention, there's still ways for him to win against the captains at this point, so we still have to wait and see. But with all that said and done, another amazing chapter for Black Clover. These two were just really great. I love how the stakes keep getting upped every single chapter. And next chapter, I can assume we get another new form, possibly, from maybe Fuegoleon, or maybe Dorothy. I don't think Dorothy will get a form. Maybe Nozel will get a form this time, so that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, with all that said and done, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will be sure to keep up the reviews as much as I possibly can. So, have a good day.